Hey there guys, we've got another Mana Series event on the JP server, and for this one we've got some challenging fights. The Silver Crown fight for Pearl, Elazul, and Hawkeye. The level 4 of these fights are pretty challenging, and they are hard locked to mana units only. You cannot take anyone except mana units, and if you don't have the newer units, it's kind of challenging. Thankfully, if you do the farm event against this Yeti guy, and you get the raid box from the summon box of the 4th summon box, you get a ticket for a guaranteed mana Neovision. Only the older ones though. So you're going to get guaranteed either Pearl, Elazul, or Hawkeye, and you can also get a ticket to exchange for 50 of their fragments. I did that and I got Pearl, and thankfully Pearl can mostly carry the fights. So we're going to be doing this, but before you go in here, you want to do the Iron Centaur fight for the Rabbit Hood. Now this one does have a mission for mana units only, but you can skip it, and I skipped that mission. I just went in there and blew it up with like a dark, DOCS team and took care of it no problem. And got the Rabbit Hood. The Rabbit Hood is really good for mana units. You really want to get that first. And I actually might go back to that one with the mana team now that I have Pearl. But let's get Pearl's Silver Crowns first. So we did the first 3 stages. I used 3 out of 4 Silver Crowns to power up Pearl. Now we're going for the last stage. The missions are no KOs, no continues, and 5 turns or less. This is the party we're going to be using. Hawkeye is the breaker, Pearl is the damage dealer, Reese for the field, Angela and Reese are going to be filling LB gauge, and Duran is going to provoke for us. Let's give it a go. We've got to kill it in 5 turns. Now my Pearl at the moment is only partially crowned because we got to beat the fight first. So we're going to start off with Pearl in the base form, and we're going to go ahead and just use her LB fill skill. We're going to use Reese to summon Fenrir. Make sure you're wearing Reese's armor, otherwise the field won't work. Now if you don't have this gear, it's unfortunate. This is from the original Mana Vision world like years ago. There's no way to get it these days. We're going to just use Angela to Rallying Cry to fill LB gauge. Duran is going to cover as well as provoke with mitigation. Hawkeye is going to start in the base, go to the shift, and then we're going to do breaks, imperil, and kind of whatever. Actually, no, we're going to do break, imperil, there we go, and attack buff. Alright, so some attacks, some AoE, etc. Not super dangerous, because we are using decent breaks with Hawkeye and all that, so we're good. And Duran is covering and provoking and mitigating and all that. Now let's go ahead and deal some damage. Let's use Reese to fill some LB gauge so we can get our Pearl. Now my Pearl is only EX1, so because of that we're not using her hammer. I don't want to moogle it early. But anyway, let's go ahead and do some LB damage with Hawkeye and Pearl. We are using auto buffs on Pearl, so she does have an auto dark amplify, so we're getting a decent chunk of damage. And remember, Pearl's LB is a stacking LB. It'll do more damage later. Let's go ahead and Rallying Cry, and we're just going to guard Duran this turn, and this turn we're going to be taking some AoE damage. No one should die here. We're sort of bulky, kind of, sort of, but there we go. We're still alive. We're good. Now let's go ahead and triple absolute mirror up equity with Hawkeye, as well as another LB on Pearl. So we're going to go ahead, and the reason Pearl got our LB again is we're using auto LB fill gear and all that kind of stuff. So here we go. Actually, I think she gets her LB automatically when you shift. But anyway, there it is. Some more damage, and now we're going to just reload these and refill LB with Reese as well as Angela. We can just guard. I should have put, we can heal a little bit just for something to do. It's not going to heal for much. Oh, 5,000, not bad actually. Anyway, some more damage, ice damage. Some more single target attacks on Duran. He's wearing light resist for the attacks. Alright, now we're going to use the cooldown, which is only partially crowned, for big amplify, LB fill, etc. And then just some chaining. We're going to chain a little bit with Hawkeye again. And we'll go ahead and do this. This will fill up Pearl the rest of the way. And then some chaining, and we're going to burst again with her next turn. We'll just heal again, fill LB. We don't really need LB gauge fill, but whatever. Alright, so turn 4, the boss doesn't really do very much. whatever this is. I'm not sure what that attack is, but whatever it is, it doesn't hurt that much. And now we deal some damage. We just go ahead and do some LB here. And this should be the end of the boss, and it gives us our last silver crown for our Lady Blackpearl. And that should make the other 2 crown fights a whole lot easier now that she'll be max crowned. That gives her the 100 amplify, etc. I went ahead and crowned her her killer skill as my first crown. But alright, there we go. Oh, I ranked up. That's actually unfortunate because I'm not really, well, whatever. Anyway, as you can see, yeah, Pearl carries it. Hawkeye's damage is straight up garbage. So there it is, and carried by Lady Blackpearl. I'm really grateful that I happened to get her from the free pull. If I had gotten Hawkeye, I would have been disappointed. If I had gotten Elazul, I actually would have been disappointed again as well, because Elazul seems to be, I could be wrong, but he seems not that great. Blackpearl definitely seems to be the winner of the current Silver Crown batch. Anyway, let me show you the gear and stuff that we used. So Duran was cover and provoke. I don't think that's super important. We could have just used like Mirage or something. There he is. He's got some light and ice resist. Not much. The boss doesn't deal that much damage, honestly speaking. You don't really need Duran, but here he is. And I could have maybe geared him for damage, I guess, but remember, on JP, Duran and Angela are Neovisions awakened, and they're not very good. Reese is the field. Other than that, she just spams her break, because her breaks AoE fill 5 LB per cast. We're triple casting them. That's 15 AoE LB fill per turn. Angela has just got some Esper fill and some bulk, and she just casts Rallying Cry. I tried dealing damage with Angela. Her LB in JP is locked to non-elemental. It did pretty crappy damage, so we didn't really do that with her. She just supported. I mean, I guess I could have technically geared her for damage and chaining and all, and done her chains, but she doesn't do good damage. Hawkeye in the base form is just using some auto buffing and some Esper fill. We start in the base, we go to the shift. Using a dark weapon, he is geared for damage, but his damage is poop, so just whatever. There it is. He was mostly the breaker. He does do an 89 break and a 160 dark in peril, and that is kind of a big deal. And then Lady Blackpearl in the base form is starting in the base. Titus STMR, Paintbrush, Call of the Wild, Auto Shell, Auto LB Fill, Auto Dark Amplify with the Rakshasa Blade. This is Envy Arden's Trust Mastery. Wind Up Yida for Auto Bravery. You can, of course, get Auto Bravery any way you want. That's just for the attack buff. Shift form is damage. Now, I know that she wants to use hammers, but mine is literally like 3 days away from EX3 because I did have her shards from the previous event. So I'm not going to waste a Trust Mogul to get her STMR like 3 days before hitting EX3. So I gave her Equip Katana and the Dark Visions Katana. So 11,000 attack power. The Rebeat Hood, like I said, this gives you a bunch of stats to mana units. Make sure you're wearing that. Other than that, Paintbrush for some LB fill. This is how she's doing Equip Katana. This is an old event material twin sword user. If you don't have it, there's no way to get it these days. Chain cap up from Titus. And we're getting the leader skill from Hawkeye. Hawkeye got a leader skill, and it's buffing the part. I think Blackpearl has one as well, actually. Does she? She does, actually. So she could be the leader too, but whatever. Anyway, that was that fight. Oh, and the crown. So for Blackpearl's crowns, I did in the shift form. I did the killer thing and the stat buff first. I only partially crowned the cooldown, but now we can crown it the rest of the way because I got my last crown, and that'll make the other fights a lot easier. That brings her cooldown amplify up to 100%. And thankfully, unlike most units, it's actually a reusable cooldown. So it's not a one-time ever, which is kind of nice. And as you can see, you know, I'm 10 shards away from EX2. That's the reason I'm not going to Moogle her STMR early. Anyway, let me adjust the theme a little bit, and we'll go and do the other 2 crown fights. See you in a bit.